after the price hike at the Dollar Tree to $1.25. I've been wondering if it's worth it to do a challenge, a Dollar Tree challenge. Can I eat for a week on $10, $15 from Dollar Tree? Last time I did this challenge where I could have bought 10 items for $10 or 15 items for $15, $10 will now only get me 7 items. I don't know what we're gonna find in here. There is no refrigerated section in this Dollar Tree, and I have no meal plan, so let's go inside, see what we can find. Remember, the challenge is we are only eating food we can find at Dollar Tree. I am assuming that you have your basic spices and a cooking fat of some kind at your house already. Let's go in. Some Dollar Trees are better than other Dollar Trees. This store has the most amazing craft section and home decor section, and the one that's closer to my house does not. The first thing I am looking for are breakfast items. Sometimes they have cereals, sometimes they have bagels, pancake mix, oatmeal. I don't know what I'm gonna find. Okay, here we go. We are at the breakfast section. Okay, this is like the smallest little package ever. I like this grit option because it's a full pound, whereas all of these oatmeals are significantly less than that. A biscuit would be really nice, but this only makes 5 biscuits, and that's it. Here are all of the breads at this store. They don't have any more than this for some reason. The easiest thing would be to buy this thing of cereal and some milk. Let's try and figure out how many calories we can get out of this stuff. Cereal and whole milk. This feels like the easiest thing to do. 8 servings in here, so a little more than 150 calories per cereal bowl if I do 7 days. And this is, I'm probably gonna have to do a half a cup of milk. I mean, that's only like 200 and some odd calories. It's not very much. The grits has 10 servings at 170 calories. I have a canned vegetable blend. I really hope this is not $1.25. I was hoping for some vegetables. I also have some cut green beans, which I like better than like the peas in this one. I saw these Vienna sausages. This is the biggest container of meat I found. I was hoping to find Spam. They don't have that. They don't have canned tuna. Like, they have herring, you know, so this felt like a good option. I'm working on like lunches here, trying to come up with something that I won't get bored of, because that's the real trick. When you're doing something like this is you're probably gonna eat the same thing a few times. You just don't want to be bored. Must get black beans. Here is my whole haul from Dollar Tree. I spent $15 on 12 items, so definitely not as many items as I would have preferred. These days, I think I could have done better at a different grocery store like Walmart, like Winco, like Aldi. That being said, not everyone has access to those stores, and they truly do need to shop from a dollar store or discount store like this where prices are going up. It definitely hurt me to spend $1.25 for this can when I know it could have been purchased elsewhere, frozen for cheaper, different store for cheaper in a can. But I will kick off the whole thing by soaking my dried beans because I could get so much more beans this way than canned. If you have less time, maybe a few extra dollars, canned is perfectly acceptable. So I have 1 pound of Great Northern beans. We'll soak both of these in some cold water overnight, and my 1 pound of black beans, which will be the bulk of our protein for the week, because the only protein I was able to get were these small cans of like chicken and sausages. So cover these with cold water, and then we'll cook them up tomorrow morning and they'll be good to go. As someone who grew up in the South, grits for breakfast just feels like a no-brainer. And you can bump up the calorie content and protein content by adding whole milk instead of all water while you're cooking them. Grits was something I had very, very often as a child growing up as a hot cereal with just some milk. You could do salt and pepper, or you can do sugar. In my house, we were team sweet on the grits. And then once you cook it and it cools, you can fry it, which is another option you can do to keep things interesting throughout the week. So let's get cooking on our grits. It's super easy. The ratio is 1:4, 1 part grits to 4 parts water. Boil it for 5 minutes. Make sure you stir with a whisk so it doesn't get clumpy. Done. Okay, here comes my 1 cup, this is only half a cup, of grits in my 4 cups of water. So I will whisk that now. I just have a huge pot here. I don't know why I grabbed this big one. Anyway, make sure you whisk so you don't get clumps. There's like nothing worse than clumpy grits, unless it's clumpy gravy, am I right? Simmer for about 5 minutes. This is about the consistency that you want when it is done. You see how thick this is? So I still have not put anything in here. I am going to season this differently because this is for more than just one meal. I'm gonna split this into 3 meals. So let me scoop out today's breakfast and I'll show you what I do with the rest for the next 2 days. For several of the breakfasts this week, we're just gonna have your standard bowl of grits with some butter that I have melting in there and some sugar. This is the way I always had it growing up, like I said before. And I have a glass of milk. I chose to do my milk separately in a cup separately, so it felt like I was eating more. And I will do this several times over the week, at least 3 times. I'm also gonna add a pinch of salt, which I can't find. A little bit of salt. Okay, I just tasted the grits. They're so freaking good. I know people are gonna ask what grits are, so I'm happy to tell you. I still have more than half this. Grits are made from the hominy part of corn. So it's from corn. They take the hominy, they dry it out, they grind it up, and they process it with something to help it get drier or whatever. Anyway, it's dried hominy that's been ground up. That's what it is. So made from corn. The remaining grits, I have 2 more servings here. I'm adding butter and salt. So I'm doing a more savory grit here. I'm just seasoning the grits themselves. So stir this all around and stick it in the fridge. And what grits do when they get cold is they congeal. So it's not good to make these and then eat them in a bowl like hot cereal the rest of the week. The texture just isn't the same, but there is a way to salvage it. So I'll kind of stir this together and we'll see you tomorrow morning for some more grits cooking. Okay, the rest of the breakfast with our grits. We have our congealed, cold, really unappetizing grits. So I have a little bit of liquid pooling like right here. So I'm gonna dump that out. Doesn't that look great? Wow. Don't worry, it's gonna be fine. So this is gonna serve me for 2 breakfasts. So I will cut half of it off and put it back in the Tupperware for tomorrow. And I have this like weirdly congealed lump of grits right here. The reason I know how to do this is because this is how my dad was raised, eating leftover grits, because they didn't waste anything. So we have our grits here and we're gonna do slices of this. And I probably should have used a deeper Tupperware that was deeper this way and not as wide, so I'd have taller slices, but hey, it is what it is. Also something my dad says a lot. Anyway, so I'm slicing these like thin pieces of grits like this, okay? And we are going to head over to my skillet on the stove that is warming up and put some fat in there. You can use any fat you want. Oil, bacon fat, butter. I'm using butter today, and we will fry these with some salt. So we're gonna have fried grits with salt for breakfast. It's delicious. All right, my butter is sizzling, so in come my little grit patties, I guess. Oh, they're popping on me. Will the salt, oh. Just like that. Not super smooth at flipping them over, but we just did. They're getting nice and brown. They smell so rich and savory. Delicious. Here we go, fried grits. And look at these plating skills. Food Network, is that you? I mean, who cares what it looks like as long as it tastes good, right? And of course, if you have some eggs laying around, a little fried egg on the side, never hurt anybody. And don't burn your tongue. Ow. Our lunches will consist of tacos and enchiladas. So let's start with the tacos. I have my can of sliced potatoes, and canned potatoes are not my favorite thing, but I dice them up nice and small. We will saute them in a pan with some butter and salt and pepper and try and bring some life back into them. And I have my cooked black beans right here. This was just the 1 bag, and this is a huge amount of black beans. I'll use about half of this, maybe a little more, and we'll do a black bean and potato taco. I only have 12 flour tortillas in here, so I'll use 6 the first 3 days and the remaining 6 for my enchiladas, which I'm thinking will be fairly full based on the amount of beans that I ended up with. Well, my oil container was empty, so I decided to use butter. Here we go, my potatoes are in, and these are salted in the can, so we'll just add a little bit of garlic powder and cumin, so we'll do that now. And I have this super cheap one from Walmart. I think this whole thing is 98 cents. So I'm essentially using a couple of pennies of flavoring on here. Okay, let me take that lid off. And I'm not left-handed. Oh my goodness. And this garlic powder, just like that. I am gonna go a little heavy because the beans have no flavoring on them at all, and beans can be so bland if you don't season them appropriately. So we're just kind of getting a head start here. simmer these for just a few minutes and our black beans will come in. I just added my beans, so I'm throwing in some salt just to season them, salt and pepper. I might need a little water or more oil in here so they don't get too dry. I also added a little more garlic powder. We want to make sure it tastes good because this is the filling for our tacos. You could say this is vegetarian tacos. My filling is about done. I added more water and salt, but otherwise this is good to go. So let's plate it up. The only thing that would take it over the edge, sour cream. You can't get real sour cream at the Dollar Tree. Especially not one with the refrigerated, without a refrigerated section. For the rest of the lunches, I have the rest of my black beans and half of the white Great Northern beans. So it was a pound of dried beans. This is a ton of food right here in this large mixing bowl. So I'm gonna add a little bit of this tomato sauce right here as part of the filling. I did already add salt to the beans, a little bit of my enchilada flavoring, maybe half of what's left, and we'll use the rest to make our enchilada sauce for the top. Right now I'm just seasoning my filling for the enchiladas so they taste good. So I'll stir this up, give it a taste for seasoning, and see where we're at. My filling is done. I did add a bit more salt and some water to thin it out. And over here, I have the rest of my jar of tomato sauce, a little bit of water to thin it out, and the rest of that enchilada seasoning. Hopefully that'll make a tasty topping for this. Stir this together and fill the tortillas and place them in a baking dish. This is a 9 by 13 baking dish, and it is full with my 6 little enchiladas. Here comes my sauce on top. Obviously, cheese would be super nice. There we go. This is a huge pan of food for 4 lunches. So this is gonna go into 400-degree oven for 20 minutes or so. And then you could like 2 for one day, 2 for one day, and then do 1 and 1 for their last few days. These are so huge. I don't even know if I could eat 2 of them for one meal. I might have to do 1 for lunch and 1 for snack. Afternoon tea time. This is so big. Okay, and I'm also not left-handed. Oh my gosh. I think if I had been at a store that sells cheese, I would have picked that up also, just because I think cheese is life. Oh, I love it crispy like that. Yum. Okay, I might need a knife. Our dinners for the week are going to be variations on a pasta salad. So we'll do half of this box of pasta with like a chicken and green bean creamy dressing pasta salad, and then half of it will be a white bean sausage pasta salad. I was able to find this 20-ounce box of pasta at Dollar Tree. It says we've got 10 servings in here at 200 calories each. So if I brought this down to 7 servings for the week, I have a good amount of calories, a nice balance of carbs and protein just in this one ingredient. For our first pasta salad, we will do chicken for our protein. Unfortunately, a 5-ounce can was the biggest I was able to find. We have some cut green beans for a vegetable, and we're gonna try and put together some kind of a sauce with our whole milk and this packet of chicken enchilada soup mix, which I will also be using for 2 other dishes this week, so I can't use that much, as well as some standard salt and pepper and fat I already have in the house. For my sauce, I'm putting together a half a cup of milk, about a half a tablespoon of that soup mix, and I will add some salty pasta water to this to add some starch to thicken it up a little bit, and hopefully our pasta will soak it up nicely and that it will taste good. Let's put together our first pasta salad. This is all of the pasta totally cooked, so I want about half of this. And into here I have 1 whole can of the green beans. I'm gonna leave my water in here because there's salt in that and I kind of want the flavoring. And ditto on the chicken, I am not draining these. Pseudo sauce is going in as well. So as the sauce sits here, hopefully the pasta will kind of soak it up. Like it'll look a little soupy here at the beginning. And if you wanna get in and like chunk these bigger pieces a little bit smaller, just so it goes further, you're welcome to do that. And then taste for salt and pepper, you're about done. You can eat this cold or hot. Another easy way to do this is if you already have some ranch dressing in your house, just instead of doing a sauce like this, I would drain everything and do just a quarter to a half a bottle of ranch dressing. It's really, really easy. And I've done that for my kids before and they really like it. Okay, let me taste for salt and pepper. I think it needs a little bit of salt and pepper. This is just some pink Himalayan salt that I ground up. Add some of that in there. You know, if you don't like green beans, you could use something else, carrots, peas, mixed vegetables, whatever. I like canned green beans. And you could use tuna if you wanted to. It's a touch soupy here, so maybe I should have drained the liquid out of the green bean, but that's okay. This is going to be my lunch. No, this is gonna be my dinner for 3 of the night. So let me dish it up into a good old Corelle bowl for serving. So you can kind of see like how big this mixing bowl is here. Obviously, I can load that up really full and enjoy this, and I still have a ton for the other 2 nights. My second pasta salad for the week, this is the rest of my pasta. In case you didn't know, you can freeze this just cooked. So if you don't want it sitting out, or if you don't want to wait and cook the rest in the second half of the week, you can cook it and freeze it. And here come our ingredients for this one. I'm trying desperately to make a play on a sausage bean pasta that I enjoy. I don't know why we call these Vienna bites. Can we not just call them like canned hot dogs? Because that's what they are. I diced them pretty small. Well, as small as I could. Here they go. I'm adding in maybe 1/3 to 1/2 of my white beans. Looks like I overcooked these a little bit. They're kind of mushy, but it's gonna make a nice sauce. A little bit of tomato sauce. Not very much, just a little. Some salty, starchy pasta water, just a bit to thin it out. A little bit more of my soup mix that I kept on hand. And of course, I will taste it and add salt and pepper as needed. And it looks like I need some more water. You see how my overcooked beans are kind of making this bean sauce, I guess you could say, like a pureed bean sauce. Now, if I could have chose anything I wanted, when I make this normally, I just use canned tomatoes and a ground sausage, like a ground spicy sausage, and you don't need a ton of other ingredients because the sausage is so flavorful. So we're trying to recreate that with canned hot dogs. We'll just give it a taste for salt. Definitely need salt. Pink Himalayan salt, so we'll add some of that, a little bit of pepper. I have a bonus recipe for you. Because I ended up with so many beans, I pulled out some of the white beans that are a little mushy, and I do have some milk left over. So with these 2 ingredients, we're gonna put together a really easy, delicious soup with just a few pantry ingredients. I have 4 cups of chicken broth right here. You can use the powdered stuff. And those beans I showed you are just going in right now, along with some onion powder and garlic powder, maybe a 1/2 teaspoon of each. And I will dig into the depths of my spice cabinet and see if I can find some kind of Italian flavor. Okay, I'm simmering and I found this rubbed sage in the back of my spice cabinet. I don't know how old this is, but it is old. We're gonna go a good teaspoon. Stir this up, and then I will puree it. You can put it in a blender to puree, or you can use an immersion blender. Puree this, I'll show you what to do next. Last step, our little bit of extra milk that we have that I splashed onto the camera, so that's good. Just make it a little creamier. The best way to eat this is with crackers or crusty bread. If you happen to have that sitting around, I mean, who doesn't have like an extra piece of bread that you can toast up? Who doesn't have an extra piece of bread that you can toast up and put in here? Oh wait, me, I have no bread right now. Make sure you taste for salt. This is probably another two meals here. I just tasted this. This is so delicious. You have to make it. Even if you're not on a budget, go make it because it is that good. I would probably add some extra cream and use fresh sage, but oh my gosh, the flavor cannot be beat. Just for funsies, I decided to go to Walmart and see what the cost would be if I bought the exact same ingredients from the Dollar Tree, and I came in at $15.89 versus the $15 at Dollar Tree. However, I got an entire gallon of milk, 20 ounces of grits instead of 16, and more tortillas. For 89 cents more at Walmart, my money would have gone further because I got more food. I also figured out the nutritional total of all of the meals, 1,300 calories a day with what I had. Once I added in the fats I already had at my house, it was 1,500 calories a day. So will you starve on that amount of food? No. Will you be totally satisfied on that amount of calories? Also no. There's definitely a lot of things lacking here. Vitamins, a lot of micronutrients, and probably some macronutrients as well. So if you are stuck in a food desert with something only like Dollar Tree, what are the solutions to an issue like this? I do not have all of the answers. What I do know is a lot of towns, especially smaller ones, have food pantries, mobile pantries, senior centers, food banks, where you can go and get a variety of food for no cost to you. And in some cases, a lot better than the stuff I could even find at a Dollar Tree. Many of these programs have no income requirements. I know there's like 2 in my town that have no income requirements at all. Ways you can find out about services like that in your areas, most churches will know what those are. Your city, sheriff's office, libraries, school districts should all know about the services that are available. And in many cases, if you don't have a car to go pick up items, there's a lot of people who are willing to go and pick up a donation and bring it to you. So reach out to your community as well. This Dollar Tree challenge was uniquely challenging for me as I was trying not to repeat things that I've done in the past, and not having that refrigerated section was supremely difficult. I didn't realize how much I counted on the perishable food items to really make the dishes a lot more than what they are than with just food stable items. I hope you're having a great summer. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.